We all know that photography can be an expensive hobby, and most of that cost comes down to these things. Lots of precision engineered glass packed into a lens. But does it have to be? Could you take a basic prime lens and still get good landscape compositions with it? More importantly, could you still have fun with just a single focal length? Well, this week I've come to the Malvern Hills with my 85mm Nikon Prime, my trusty Z5, and we're going to find out. I went into this with no expectations at all. When I arrived, the light was really poor and the early shots weren't great. But as the afternoon drew on, the light just got better and better. Overall, I'm happy I tried this, and I'm very happy with the final shots. So despite the lack of light, I still think it's worth taking the shot. We've got this path that's leading up to the top of Black Hill, which is where I've just come down from, and that sort of leads your eye through to all where all the light's happening at the top of the frame. Clouds have got some nice detail in them, so although the light's not as I'd like, we can still work with that, and I think I'll make that at least half the frame. Oh, the sun's starting to come out. Because I've only got the 85mm, we're going to have to be a little bit creative and move around a bit to try and get the shot. But I think we're going to have a good time, and I think it's going to be worth it. Let's see what we can do. So why the 85mm prime? Well, if you've bought your camera for portrait photography, maybe family photography, then there's a chance you've got either a 50 or an 85mm prime. Most camera companies make a really good prime lens in that sort of range for a relatively affordable price. But to be honest, this isn't really about the lens. You could do this with a 20mm or maybe your kit lens, or whichever lens you've got. It's more to show that if you're not sure about landscape photography, you just want to give it a go, you can head out there with whatever you happen to have and still get some good compositions and still have a very good time. So I don't think these shots are ever going to be award-winning shots or my best work, just because of the light we've got. It needs a little bit more light just to enliven these hills a bit more. But I'm having a great time with just the 85mm lens. It just shows that you don't need all of the gear to have a good time. It's really actually forcing me to move around, and that's really opening my eyes to a few different compositions that I probably wouldn't have seen had I just stood at the top, turned the dial and zoomed in to sort of 150, 200mm on my zoom lens. And that's really worth it, to be honest. Even if you have got a zoom lens, I'd still get your prime out and just go out for a wander. So let me show you what I've got here. We've got this peak far off in the distance, and then on the left we've got the next hill, which I think is Pinnacle Hill. Let's go with that. And then on the mountainside on the right, there's not a lot going on, to be honest, but there is this sort of dark, muddy footpath. It's not a proper footpath, just a small track that leads your eye from bottom right of frame, and then it leads you to the proper footpath going up the mountain in the distance, which is then that stone sort of lighter colour that leads your eye right to the top, and then the whole thing is sort of shrouded in cloud. So do I wish I could zoom in on that peak in the distance? A little bit, but has it made the photo much worse because of it? I don't think so. I still quite like that. You can always crop it down a little bit if needed. But I'm quite happy with the composition as it is, to be honest. And I think all I might do in a sec is walk down that footpath, try and get on the corner of that mountain, see if that'll get us a bit closer, just on foot, and then we should get that composition anyway. So no loss at the end of the day. Alright, so all I've now done is walk around the hilltop on that dirt path that we could see from my original composition. Instead of going through the top, we've come around on this fairly treacherous single track path, but we can now see that peak that was in the distance over my left shoulder. And I really like it. The sun has come out, we've got a little bit of light coming on the hilltop now, which has helped things out dramatically as well. Would I have come around this way if I'd just been able to zoom in from where I was at? Probably not, I'd have probably gone straight to the top. Has it helped that I've walked around and been able to find this new sort of angle and competition? Yeah, I think so. So on that basis, 85 has been a winner there. So it made me walk a bit further, but I think it's going to help get a better shot. Got a little bit of this hilltop in the left of the shot, which I don't really like. It's just sort of cutting off the bottom corner. Bit too green, just grass, nothing going on, nothing exciting. I think we'll head down a little bit, just see if I can get rid of that, see what we can do. That's more like it, a little bit further. Still a little bit there, but I think we can crop that out now. That works quite well. Quite a steep drop off over there as well, so I think I'll come back up. Oh, that light is just really helping. Tell you what I am really enjoying about only having this prime lens in my bag is the weight. So much lighter and nicer to walk with. So although it's forcing me to walk further for the compositions, which I don't think is a bad thing, the walk is much more enjoyable because that thing weighs, I think it's about half a kilo, something like that. Even combined with the Z5, it's maybe 1.5 kilo max. And oh, brilliant. Definitely going to be coming out a bit more just with that one lens. I think that's really worth it. It's been good fun actually. Well, look at that, the sun has come out. It's absolutely glorious out here now this afternoon. The closer we get to that peak, the better the weather seems to be getting. It's unusual, isn't it? Got blue sky and everything, fantastic. We've now got some light illuminating the mid-ground, which is really nice because that's just highlighting that, and it's highlighting that path that leads your eye through the frame and up to the peak in the background, which is the higher of the peaks, and there's no light on it yet. So that's quite moody and dramatic, especially with all the clouds surrounding it and the fact that you can't see much into the valley below on either side. Oh, what a brilliant afternoon. I had no expectations for today. The weather was looking awful. Rain was forecast up until this morning, then it was just cloud and no sun, and actually it's really good. This lens isn't really limiting me in any way. In fact, it's forced me to walk further and the weather's improved. So in some ways you could say that I've got a better shot because I didn't have the right lens. So I've reached the top of Jubilee Hill and it's just getting better and better. And I'll tell you what, this is the first time I felt the need to get my tripod out for the photography. I've used it for the video, but this 85mm prime, without having to mess around with zoom and faff around with all of that, it's felt a lot more relaxed that I can just, you know, get the camera out, almost hand hold it for every shot. It's got image stabilization built into the camera, which does admittedly help me. If you're on something a bit older, then that might not be quite such a good option for you. But I think if I was just out for a nice walk, I'd just bring this lens, this camera, no tripod, and it'd be really relaxing. You know what I haven't done in a while? Nice square crop, and I think this might be the one. Get the pink of the mountain bang in the centre, square it off, you just have either side with that path leading straight from sort of bottom left, bottom centre, straight up to the top of the peak. As the light really hits it, it's starting to really come into its own. Just waiting around here and it just keeps changing and getting better and better and, well, different. I'm feeling like it might start to rain in a minute, but what an enjoyable day. So one of the reasons I made this video is because I've recently just been looking at lenses. I'm sure we all do it from time to time, just looking at the lens catalogue of whichever camera brand you've got. For me, it was the 100 to 400. I was kind of sitting there thinking, well, maybe if I had that 400mm reach, then that would improve my photography, or not improve, but give me different options, different compositions when I'm out on location. And I had this 85mm that I've borrowed to do some dog photography, and I thought, let's just calm down a bit because that's a, you know, a £2.5 lens. Even second-hand, it's £1,900. Let's calm down, see what we can do with just an 85mm prime, no zoom at all, and see if we can still, you know, get good shots, good compositions, and still enjoy it. And, well, I have. So, not sure that 100 to 400 is needed as much anymore. And I think it's been a good exercise before I went and pulled the trigger on that, just to see what else I could do with a limited resource that I've got. I'm not going to be getting rid of my 24 to 200, definitely not. That's a really good lens. I really like that. It's lightweight, ideal for hiking around, gives you all the focal lengths. It's, you know, reasonable image quality. But I feel like I was getting a little bit lazy with that, you know. This prime has really helped. Well, here I am at the top of British Camp, Old Roman Fort at the top of the Malvern Hills. Absolutely beautiful view, stunning. But there's no light, it's all very cloudy and incredibly windy. Now, as much as I didn't really enjoy that shot at the top of British Camp, the light just wasn't there. I did really enjoy using my 85mm prime. So much so that I've come out the next day into some local woodlands to see how it fares there, because that's one of my favourite genres. I'm at this quite peaceful, idyllic woodland. There's a little stream running behind me, and this tree behind my shoulder has caught my eye. The light just a minute ago was shining on it really nicely, and because this prime opens up really wide, I can get down to f1.8. Given me some real separation in the woodland, which is not something that I've been able to do before. So 85mm prime works really well in the woodland, it turns out. So yes, you can definitely get good landscape compositions with just a prime lens. Doesn't really matter which one you've got. The 85 for me, if you've got a 50mm, that'll be fine as well. In fact, I think that shot of the trees, the last one I took, my favourite of the trip. Really shouldn't be. I've been in more stunning locations than that, but I just love the way the light's hitting that tree and the separation I got, that f1.8 aperture. So as you can probably tell, I'd highly recommend going out with just a prime lens or just fixing a focal length and sticking with that, to be honest. Even if you've got all the proper gear, it's quite nice. It makes you work for compositions. Almost showed me how lazy I was being with my 24-200. Just, you know, I'd stand around, zoom around, get the shot, and, you know, this forces you to work for your images and move around and find new and exciting compositions. So, yes, definitely recommend it. You can get good images with it, and it's great fun, forcing you to find some different angles, different compositions to work with. So I really hope you've enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you have, give it a quick like, maybe consider subscribing for some other content, and I really hope to see you soon. And this little tree has caught my eye behind us. It's in this really peaceful, quite, well, peaceful apart from the bloody plane.